I wanna ruin that friendship. We should be lovers instead. I don't know, I'll just say this, 'cause you're really my dearest friend.
So if you want my love, call in the morning and come round 8 till 3. Kissing in the passenger side on my brand new ride. You can holler at me anytime you want. Call in the morning and come round 8 till 3. Kissing in the passenger side on my brand new ride. You can holler at me, yeah, anytime you need. Ooh, you can holler at me. You can holler at me.
If you want my love, call in the morning and come right into 3. Kissing in the passenger side of my brand new ride. You can holler at me anytime you want. Call in the morning and come right into 3. Kissing in the passenger side of my brand new ride. You can holler at me. You can holler at me. You can holler at me.
La 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 la, yeah 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 yeah. La 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 la, yeah 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 yeah. My love, calling in the morning, come round and 1 3. Kissing in the passenger side, brand new ride.
change your mind, just admit it, just like they change the seasons. Didn't give you space, I was feeling, gave you 1,000 reasons. I drove 5 hours to see you, didn't know that he just left. You took my heart for a spin, wondering why I say left. Wipe those tears from your eyes, I see straight through. You think I'm blind, you broke my heart, and things ain't fine. I'll do this a second time. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Is this all you are to me? Is this all you are to me? Is this all you are to me? I needed you desperately. Is this all you are to me? I needed you desperately. You changed your mind, just admit it, just like they change the seasons. Didn't give you space, I was feeling, gave you 1,000 reasons. I drove 5 hours to see you, didn't know that he just left. You took my heart for a spin, wondering why I say left. Wipe those tears from your eyes, I see straight through. You think I'm blind, you broke my heart, and things ain't fine. I'll do this a second time. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Is this all you are to me? Is this all you are to me? Is this all you are to me? I needed you desperately. Is this all you are to me? Is this all you are to me? Is this all you are to me? I needed you desperately.
All right, good morning, friends. Hope you guys doing well. Name for the song, shit slaps. It's R to Me by Tachami. Let's put it on here. Threw it in the YouTube chat. But yeah, hope you guys doing well. Happy Monday. Happy new Bitcoin all-time high. Don't know why I'm not on the Bitcoin chart. Happy new Bitcoin all-time high, friends. So right off the bat, I just want to say one thing, because I know everyone's feeling it. So let's address the elephant in the room. If you missed a trade, remember, it's just a trade. It's one trade. Who cares that you didn't catch 112 to 124 or whatever it is? It's one trade. Look across the market, scan your list. There are so many trades, and they're never going to end. Crypto will never end. There's no going to be shortage of opportunity or trade opportunities out there, man. You missed one leg, there's another leg coming, right? There'll be pullbacks. There'll be breaker setups. There'll be trend continuation setups. There'll be all of these things, right? So stop stressing yourself out and being like, holy shit, I missed this and I missed that, man. That's, you know, tough love here. It's a loser's mentality. I mean, I would know. I've had it before in my career, right? I've stressed about, oh my God, I missed this and I missed that, and you know, whatever. It never ends. And it caters into the thing that I always tell you guys on public streams, Paragon streams, whatever. It's like, you need to show up when things feel like crap. That's when you need to be locked in. There's the meme of the guy leaning forward in the chair, and everyone posts that when we go up. No, you should have in your brain, you post that and you adopt that mentality when things go down, when things are crap, when times are boring, when volatility's dead, when there's no opportunity. That's the times when you lock in, right? If you want to be in the moves from the ground floor. But hey, look, where we're standing right now, what we're hoping for is for a Bitcoin-led breakout. We're looking for Bitcoin to continue leading. I know everyone's going to start shuffling into altcoins here and there. I did so myself. I longed some alts. But what we want for strength of the market to continue from here is for Bitcoin to lead. That's it, right? Look at how this market has played out since the FTX bottom. Where have we gotten the most amount of money from alts? It's after this. It's up here. It's over here, right? It's up here. Bitcoin needs to lead the breakout. When it consolidates, calms down, relaxes, takes a week off, that's when alts catch up in a big way. It's always the same thing, right? So you kind of want Bitcoin to continue leading this breakout. We want the momentum to be there. We'll talk about pullback plans. I think some of them are pretty consensus. Probably something you guys have heard before from your favorite trader, whoever you guys follow. So let's get into that now. So Bitcoin. We're going to remove all the trends. We're just going to talk about price. We mentioned that 116.2K was kind of the bearish line in the sand. We wanted to see acceptance above 116.2K. The last time we tagged this level, we rejected and sold off quite a bit. I said, I was pretty firm in my analysis here, that if we broke 16.2 the next time around, we would trade pretty strongly to the other side. We overshot that. We'd set new all-time highs. We're trading at new all-time highs right now. For me, if we're going to get a pullback, this level is for defending. And there's multiple overlapping confluences around 120. Namely, the most important one for me is going to be around 118, which is prior quarterly value area high. Let's go over to the VWAP scan and talk about it here. So last quarter, I used the quarterly value for trade confluences the entire quarter, right? This was one of my favorite levels to trade off of. If I got confluence with either EMAs or price action or order blocks or yearly value area high or anything like that, this was a fantastic level for me to trade off of several times, right? The main risk of trading down here last week when we're down here around 107, the main risk essentially was acceptance below the the quarterly. We didn't want this entire thing to turn into 3 months of distribution, acceptance below, because that leads to some much lower levels. Obviously, we didn't get that. We're to the upside. What we want to see now, if any pullbacks come towards that 120 region that I just mentioned, maybe even 118, we're going to want to jump on this, right? What we don't want to see is price hold below these levels, right? So keep that in mind. I said 120, 118, we're going to continue building a story around that, right? If we start accepting below, it's going to open up quarterly VWAP, which is going to be your monthly open and yearly open. That's around 115, 114K, something like that, right? And quarterly value area low. Anything below the quarterly VWAP, I think this just stays range bound for much longer. We'll just say, yeah, that was another failed breakout attempt. We're going to have to reset, reaccumulate, and reframe these trade ideas. I don't think price at this point is going to grant anyone 115, but it's good to remember that level if it comes into play. I think the deepest pullback that bulls want to see at this point is 118 to 120. That's where I think bulls want to step in the strongest and just say, yeah, we're never revisiting that monthly open or quarterly open. That was your dip, right? Now let's come to the current rally. Since the monthly open, since the quarterly open, since October 1st, we have been up only on the VWAPs, right? We opened a little bit of crab and we've been holding the monthly value area high the entire way. Right? Every little dip into the monthly value area high has been a buying opportunity. This one looked the shakiest, right? Coming into the weekend, but we started the fresh weekly. We got back above it. We held it as support. We're pushing up again. This is the meta that you're working with, is your monthly value. It's cleaner than your 4-hour trend. It's cleaner than your 1-hour trend. It's cleaner than your 30-minute trend. It's the cleanest trend representation that we have right now. Just like last month. Let's go back over the VWAP scan. Just like last month where I said I laid out almost the exact same game plans here. I said we want to continue holding outside of monthly value. If we fail, it brings in the monthly VWAP and the monthly value rate low, right? I was initially just looking for the monthly VWAP. We went much lower than that. We actually held it as resistance and we sold off even further. Reclaim, right, of prior monthly VWAP, we sent. The analysis is the exact same here once again. I put this out on the Friday, 5-minute market outlook, right? This was the doodle from the thumbnail. Literally saying if we pull back into here again, it provides contextual opportunity for upside. That's exactly what we got. The meta going forward is going to be the same thing. As long as we continue holding the monthly VWAP, or excuse me, the monthly value area high, we continue aiming higher. We reaccept into monthly value, it brings in the monthly VWAP. Remember we said 120K? 120K being our composite value area high, the top of this gray box right here. 120K, right? Same exact level, that's your monthly VWAP. If we make the full rotation of the monthly value area low, that's about 118K, right? That is confluent with our prior quarterly value area high. So 118K prior quarterly value area high, current monthly value area low. Those are where I'm getting those two levels from, right? I don't really want to see any deeper than that. Any deeper than that would be the prior composite value area at 116, the monthly open, quarterly open, right? I really don't think those are going to come into play. I think the steepest we're going to get is maybe 120 or 118 if it comes, right? And I think that would be a gift. It would be a gift for bulls to reload. You know, whoever wanted to sell up here sold, and this gives buyers another opportunity to put in a higher low to send price higher. So if those levels come and we see, you know, proper selling, spot support, order book skew favoring bulls, maybe a selling climax, maybe some high volumes coming in, maybe some market order bubbles coming in, this is a place where I'm going to want to attack to look for swings for higher. If it doesn't come, we're going to have to stick to intraday on Bitcoin. And we basically say, okay, Bitcoin's doing its job. It's leading the breakout. It's going to price discovery. And let's focus on the altcoin catch-up plays, right? We have to be patient in the altcoins because they're not going to rip one-to-one with Bitcoin. We want Bitcoin to lead. We want Bitcoin to have the strength. And we want our altcoins to catch up maybe a couple days or a couple weeks later, right? The strong ones will obviously go with Bitcoin. The weaker one's going to take its time. So TLDR, we've covered the continuation plans. We've covered the pullback plans, right? That's pretty much it for Bitcoin. I think it's very, very simple for this week and kind of moving forward. Let me know if background music's too loud or anything like that. I'm just going to lower it a little bit. It looks seeming a little loud. Yeah, good morning, everyone. Happy all-time highs for sure. Doc do cards later in the stream, sure. Not afraid I miss 120 to 124, but I'm a freak out if I miss Doc live. Hey, thank you for the love. Interested any thoughts you have on Pump, Fart, ENA, SBTL, etc.? Sorry, dropping them all at once. Yeah, so I'll 100% do Pump, Fart, and ENA. I'm in Pump. I want to reload if the market grants me the opportunity. I may have to chase the strength, but I have some targets. I'll talk about it in a minute. TBL, I'm not really sure what that is. Actually, I think I know what that is. That's the coin that Rhino Bull posted and all of CT jumped on that same afternoon. I'll pull that up later. Talk about FARTCOIN first, 100%. I'll talk about that. Don't worry. I want to do it in order. At least let me get through the majors, and maybe we'll do hype, and then we'll do everything else. Sol versus ETH. Remind me of that because I'm going to forget. I'll forget to look at Sol ETH, so remind me of that. POC of range since July is also 118. There you go. More confluence. So what do we say about consensus levels, guys? We talked about consensus trades and consensus ideas. This weekend right here, one of my trade plans was, I talked about this in Paragon with the groups. Everyone that I respect, even good traders, right? You know, good traders, great traders, respect traders. Everyone's looking for 107K sweep. You know, the consensus level for a lot of people who I consider like lower signal traders, we're talking about 105, 104. I didn't see that coming. I thought the 107K sweep was a legitimate trade idea. I made the plan to front run that, right? So Saturday, Sunday, I was pretty locked in this weekend. I was trading XPL all weekend. I was at the screens all weekend, and I was saying, if Bitcoin can just give me a shallow sweep, nothing even dramatic, just these lows, 108.5, I want a long Bitcoin, right? We didn't even get that. We started running on Sunday. So it's very common in markets when the entire market says, I intend to buy here, and the market front runs it. We love that sign of strength. It's the same idea. I don't know if you guys saw Lear put out the clip on the Paragon Twitter earlier today. Something I talk about when I talk about range breakout trading, right? There's a consistent level of resistance and we break out. What does everyone do? They place their limit orders right here. They're like, oh, I'll buy the retest. And what does the market do? It front runs that. That is strength. That's what you want to see, right? So I tried to do that a little bit here. It was even stronger than imagined. The CME gap never filled. We have just, you know, ran away. We have almost no wick on the monthly. The strength has been undeniable. And without repeating myself too much, you guys know the pullback plans. How do you display volume profile on the right? It's called fixed range volume profile, or excuse me, visible range volume profile. It's right here. See this right here? Visible range volume profile. Just type that into indicators, you'll get it. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about Ethereum. So I'm a little bit upset about this one too, because like I said, this weekend at the lows, I was very distracted by XPL. I was not worrying about majors too much. I was like, I'll worry about majors on Monday. Let me just trade the strength that's in front of me. And Ethereum did fully fill that gap, right? So we talked about this extensively, that if ETH loses the daily trend, it's going to gap down to the weekly. We literally got just a tiny little kiss off the weekly, and that was your bottom. For me personally, I was looking for just a little bit lower, not even on ETH itself. I was a little too cute. I'm gonna admit, I was a little too cute. I was looking for ETH BTC to fill the gap, right? So I was like saying, if ETH BTC fills the gap, no brainer long. I'm going all in. Like this is gonna be a heavy trade. Never got it. ETH ran without me, right? So for ETH, we speculated back here that this was gonna form a multi-month composite, right? We would range from multiple months. Now, was it multiple months? It was a couple months, right? It ended up being multiple months. So the composite values that we have are about 4,600, call it 4,650, and 4,200, right? Those are the levels you're working with. The green line that you see here, this is your quarterly VWAP, right? This is your quarterly VWAP. This has been really good trend representation in all of Q3, right? Holding outside of it, anytime we dip below, reclaim, continue to send. It gave you good confluence for trades. Eventually, we started rotating into the quarterly value. Rotating into the quarterly value, we bottomed at the quarterly VWAP, right? This green line is just representation of prior quarterly value area high. So if you look at this on the daily, you'll see how many rejections we got off this level and the expansion we're getting above it. So this expansionary candle, for me, if we're going to get continuation from here, what I want to see is us not trade back below 45, what is this? 45.30, call it 45.40, who cares? I would like to see the initiation of momentum above this level held, right? Pullbacks to be shallow and trend continuing back upwards. If we fail 4,500, I think there's a strong possibility we revisit somewhere close to the composite value area low, monthly value area low, right? So all of that is playing in tandem, right? So those are the levels I'm working with. From here, you want to see continued strength. You want to see pullbacks be shallow. In fact, the best way to trade this is probably on an intraday basis, right? Look for one standard deviation value area high to continue holding for continuation's sake. If that fails, it's going to come back to the quarterly VWAP. That would probably, excuse me, not the quarterly VWAP, the daily VWAP. And that would be your kind of final line in the stand, because if that is lost, you're going to be trading back under the quarterly, and I think that opens up the correction down to 4,300s. That's pretty much it with ETH. Everyone good there? Solana, I have not looked at myself in about a week. I have not paid it. I haven't even opened this chart, so let's see what we did. All right. So from memory, daily trend was goated. All corrections were being held by the daily. When we lost the daily, we gapped down to the weekly. That ended up being the Pico bottom, right? Resistance at 210. That has been a very strong level for Solana over the past couple years, year and a half or whatever it's been, right? Big breakthrough, momentum continuation. We're back above the daily. So what are we forming here? We're forming a little bit of a tight composite value. Come to lower time frames, right? Don't think any trends are going to be super relevant in this location. What you would want to do with your coin crabbing like this, put on a fixed range volume profile, try to bid towards composite value area low for the rotations higher. That's really it. That's what you want to see at this point, right? Expansion, grind up, value, right? When price is building value, try to position yourself towards the value area low. End of story, right? High side targets at this point in the market is just going to be all-time highs, right? 2021 all-time high, prior highs right here. But within the context of this composite, you're basically looking to play rotations and try to get them at a discount. Try not to long at the premium. Let's move on. Let's do PUMPFUN because I'm kind of excited about this one. This has been a banger for me for 2 weeks now, I think. Yeah, 2 weeks, right? When we were selling off from the highs, we noticed that the 4-hour trend was the most goated trend on the way up, right? And immediately flipped to resistance. This is your daily trend right here. I was looking for the daily in an optimistic fashion to form that rounded bottom and for us to be able to squeeze through the 4-hour trend. Not only did we get rejected by the 4-hour trend, we also got rejected by the monthly VWAP. Right? This led to a sell-off lower. In my opinion, this was prime real estate. Now, anyone who reads the cookbook will remember me talking about this in the cookbook before even I talked about it on Twitter. I can't remember if I talked to you guys about this on stream, but cookbook readers know, which, by the way, shameless plug, link in the bio, link in the description. It's completely free. Go sign up. There'll be another one dropping in a few hours. This was prime opportunity for me to accumulate. I built a 51.3 or 52 average in this location. We got the Sunday pump, 30% off. We got the retrace, compound, and then we traded all the way back. The monthly VWAP was our line in the sand. When we got our expansion, clear skies all the way to prior monthly value area high. This was a region for me to de-risk, right? So I sold 50% of my position here, and I'm looking to compound where? Prior monthly VWAP, daily trend, right? This would be the confluent region for me to try to pick up that pump again. We're pretty damn close, and I'm being a little bit greedy for lower. So we'll see how this plays out. But if we hit 60s or something like that, I'll be looking to add that size back on because this would be a pretty nice 20% correction. And then we can add the size back on and try to hopefully aim for range highs. Once again, I do think 74, 75 is going to be pretty decent resistance, but above that, you will get range high. $150 people, 16 likes isn't mathing. Yeah, man, I'd appreciate if you guys hit the like. I'd appreciate it. If you guys, do you remember like 6 months ago? It was like slower in markets and we had, more laid back streams because there's not like, craziness going on, I think. And I mentioned to you guys, is like, look, the content for the streams will never change. I'm always going to keep providing as much value as I can to you guys without kind of going overboard and leaking what I would share in Paragon, right? We're going to talk about trades. I'll answer everything, but in order for the stream to grow, I'm going to need to do some clickbaiting, right? So I'm going to I have to change up the thumbnails. I got to change up the titles and stuff like that. So I've been leaning in that direction a little bit. I don't know if some of you guys have noticed it. But yeah, that's to say that like, if you want to help the channel grow, the least you guys could do, hit a like, hit the like button, subscribe. You don't have to, not mandatory, but I do appreciate it if you do. Okay, back to the coins. Pump is done. We're good with pump. We'll do FARTCOIN. So with FARTCOIN, this is a level that I marked out like 5 months ago. We could probably find streams where I talked about this way back then, right? This is the monthly demand block before this nice rally, right? I was looking for this region down here. It took 5 months for us to tag this weekly demand. Not only is this weekly demand, this is also the value area low from the March bottom, right? This is your Pico bottom before a multiple X rally. This is the composite value area low. We talked a lot about the the anchored VWAP holding a support. Look what happens when it fails. We traded all the way back down to value area low. So value area low, weekly demand. I think this is a really good opportunity to stack a little bit of FARTCOIN if you still believe in this coin. I personally do think it's going to new highs. I don't know. I don't think I have the conviction to say it's going to new all-time highs, but I do think it'll push back up into the $1.5 to $2 range. And I think this is really discounted. It's gone from probably the most consensus trade on CT to now extremely faded. Like no one cares, right? Attention have gone elsewhere. People have capitulated out of their bags. They've rotated, etc. So I think this is a prime opportunity for a resurgence in not just FARTCOIN, but probably memes in general. Can you pump BONK for me, please? Of course, Charlie. Where's BONK? There it is. That doesn't look bad. I can't remember when, but I talked about BONK at some point recently. The alpha here, the value here is we built a range, very clean mid-range respect. This expansionary candle, you don't want more than 50% of it to retrace if we're going to get continuation. If it fully retraces, that's your continuation setup cooked. So any retraces to kind of mid-range or 50% retrace of this expansionary candle is your kind of entry. The place that you need to break right now is the daily downtrend. Right, so you're stacked up against resistance. It's a really, really, really good 4-hourly close. I think a bunch of memes have been pretty damn strong this morning. But if you got this bid right here, I think you look okay. I think you look okay for higher prices. That's pretty much it. Let's talk about like maybe the next trade setup. If you don't have one, I would be using the exact same concept. I'd say this is your consolidation. Ideally, this becomes your expansion. Shallow retrace, play trend continuation. There's probably no EMAs that we can use for bias down here because this is just crab, 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 crab. Right? So the 1 hour, 4 hour, etc. is probably not going to be very clean. Right? 4 hour, just, you know, crabbing up and below it. 1 hour, nothing. So yeah, you're gonna have to give it a little bit of time before fresh trends form here that you can trade off of. For now, I would say what you want to see is this continued strength. I think you want a little bit of a push up. You can sacrifice missing this leg, look for the next consolidation, look to buy the next pullback with invalidation, you know, dropping back into this old range. That's how you can play momentum from here. Is there a chance pump to go lower under 0.6? I think so. I think there's a chance, for sure. But I would be betting on 58, which is your 4-hourly 200 EMA, and previous month's VWAP. So I'd be betting on 58 to 60 to hold. Underneath this opens up this whole thing, right? That's not what you want to see. I think this is a pretty solid pullback from here. 20%, that's good enough. A lot of stuff in the chat. Today I'm not going to be able to read everyone's comments, so if you really want something, maybe ask it a second time. If you spam it, I'm probably just going to ignore it. How do you think about a pump long? So we kind of covered that, don't worry. Be great to hear some more about your trading this weekend. I didn't take that many trades this weekend. I opened some fresh ones. I can talk about it in a little bit. Let me get caught up. When Paragon sale? I don't know, dude. I think for sure, there will be one at the start of November. So like November 1st, we'll do the Black Friday sale, which will be the biggest discount of the entire year. So if you want to lock in Paragon, that is going to be the best bang for your buck, in my opinion. I can talk to Charlie and Magus and see if we want to like front run that a little bit and do it a little bit earlier, but it should be November. XPL, yeah, that's a good one. Let's move to XPL. So on XPL, again, for cookbook readers, they understood exactly what I was thinking about in this one, right? I want to see if this is going to stay strong after listing, we must absolutely hold the listing anchored VWAP. I said in the cookbook, again, by the way, completely free, link in bio, yada, yada. If we lose this, at best, we're going to form a range. At worst, we're going to bleed, right? So what did we do? At worst, we bled, and then we started forming a range. To me, this is a momentum loss, right? So anytime you see a momentum loss pattern like this, your objective is to buy pullbacks into the range lows, right? We got 1 stab, 2 stabs, 3 stabs. This one's setting a higher low. So I do think momentum is losing for the bears. Acceptance above 95 opens up the gap to 110, 111. This is what you absolutely do not want to see if you're a bull. The most high EV long opportunity is down here. This is your invalidation. If you get acceptance above here, you don't want to see it fully retrace. You can play continuation to 108, 109, 110, whatever the anchored ends up being. That becomes the next trade. Those are the levels. Clinic daily different than the Paragon daily? No, completely same. I just changed the name. I don't want people asking about the clinic anymore, dude. That shit's locked up and closed. No one's getting in. Yeah, good shout, Nelly. There's so many ticker requests in here. I'm not going to be able to do all the tickers, guys. My regular ask of useless squiggles update. Let's see if you hit again. All right. This has been an ongoing joke whenever people ask me about useless. I don't trade this coin, but I find it fun because I give out plans for trades, and I'm always curious to see how I do. Okay. Latest one, not working. I think the last one was like over here somewhere. And I was saying, if you get this pullback, you buy it. This is all you got. I don't know how many doodles I have on this chart by now, though. I think I counted last stream. Most of them were correct. This leg, obviously wrong. The demand block hitting, the deviation hitting, the reclaim, the continuation, the pullback, the invalidation, the de-risk, all of these were good. There we go. We got 2 wrong ones now so far. But then again, even if this fails and pulls back a little bit later, I will claim the clout. Because again, remember, this is the complete LARP chart. I'm not trading this. I have no trades on useless. This is the best tea I've ever seen. This is an ongoing joke for stream watchers. This is something that I was seriously giving like setups on way back here. Back when we had the clean meta of 4-hour trend loss gives daily trend tag. Daily trend loss going to reset you all the way back down to range lows and the daily demand. Right? Holding the range is going to let you to ping pong back to range highs. So it's kind of running from this trade onwards. Now I don't really care about it as much because this is just, who cares, it's just chop now. But again, yeah, if you really wanted a position on this and you got 19 again, I think you jump on that. Wait, didn't you long useless with me? I did not. I did not. Where do you put the anchored VWAP? First candle on the chart. Here's a little bit of alpha for you guys. If a chart opens up like this, right, and there's a candle that goes from like 0 cents all the way up, and then price starts trading, do not anchor to this candle. Anchor to the very next candle. How do I get your VR VP indicator? It's not mine. It's public. There you go. Visible range volume profile. It's a trading view indicator, not mine. Why do you not play your own setups? They seem EV. Are you talking about useless? Because I only have so much mental bandwidth. And if I can find a higher quality setup that fits within kind of like my system and how I trade, I'm going to take that 9 times out of 10. I'm not going to really deviate from my plans, my system, my bread and butter to chase something else just because, hey, I marked this out. Also, another weakness that I have is it's very hard for me to long and trade 5, 6, 7 coins at the same time. I'm usually 90% of the year. There's a few times a year, like right now, where I open myself up to taking more than 1 trade. But other than that, 90% of the year, I'm a 1 trade guy. I take 1 trade, take it to the target, close it out, either get stopped, continue, whatever, invalidated, next trade, next trade, next trade. I'm not opening up like 3 trades right here and then 3 trades right here. Which is why, like I talked about a little bit earlier, I did miss the ETH trade, which is a bummer. Because I could have nailed this. I didn't have to be so cute with the ETH BTC, but hey, chalk it up to, you know, we're not going to hit everything. But the bonus was this entire weekend was XPL weekend. And I made a lot of money trading XPL this weekend, so I can't be too upset. Like, did I miss a good trade on ETH? Yes. Could I have sized up on this? Yes. Will there be more trades on ETH? Yes. XRP? I'm going to do XRP just because I really like how it looks. I have periodically shouted out XRP on the stream, I don't know, 10 times over the past 6 to 8 months. And it's because it blows my mind how good this structure looks despite our tariff FUD, right? This is where the markets went to 0 because of the tariffs. What did XRP do? XRP, like a Giga Chad, held range lows, deviated, and then reclaimed the weekly trend. This is what XRP looked like. It held the weekly trend the entire way. right? It was primed and geared for when the market went risk on. What is it doing again? It's just holding the weekly trend. So I think once again, it will probably lead to another expansion, right? Consolidation, weekly trend, supports, very clean level. If you're lucky enough to get another drive down here, I think you do ape that. And, you know, I don't know how to value XRP high side targets. Maybe you compare it to something like BNB or Solana. I don't really know what the market cap rankings are right now. You could use a fib, but I would just, I would just generally say you aim for new highs over 366. It probably front runs the $4 psychological level, so somewhere up here. If you can get 366, you take that. Thoughts on Pump? Already covered, bro. Did a lot of stuff on Pump. All right, I'm gonna look through coins in here that I want to cover, and hopefully this is stuff that you want to hear anyways. So Hyperliquid. Anytime I get asked about Hyperliquid, I always reframe the meta that Hyperliquid is traded around. Again, the Q3 quarterly VWAP has provided great contextual opportunity for trades, both for de-risking and risk on, right? Failures to close below the quarterly VWAP or quarterly value area low have provided great opportunity to trade to the upside of value. When we started shifting value upwards and holding the quarterly VWAP, that led to your expansionary move outside. If bulls wanted to hold this meta and start trending, we needed to hold the quarterly value area high. We failed to do so. Where did we bottom? Quarterly value area low. Brand new quarter, it's not going to be as relevant, but we're going to hang our hat on prior quarterly value. So if for some reason you get Hyperliquid in the 45s, this is where you want to see this bottom. I think this provides great opportunity. So if you get the pullback scenarios like we talked about on Bitcoin, 120, 118, if that happens and Hyperliquid is around 45, I think it presents a great swing opportunity. That's pretty much it on Hyperliquid. I don't really want to cover it on low time frames or anything like that. But from a swing opportunity, this is your best case scenario, right around 45. PEPE? Yeah, I'll move to PEPE. Don't worry. I longed PEPE this morning. Okay, we did XPL. We can do PEPE next. ASTER, Sol, ENA. Okay, I want to talk about ENA. We'll get back to it. So I think ENA is one of those coins that looks super good high time frame, right? And it got a little crowded. Like last week, a lot of people were talking about it. I was long Athena. I think everyone on the timeline started talking about Athena, right? Maybe people top blasted and it pulled back. From a weekly trend perspective, this looks fantastic, right? It is basically crabbing between the daily trend, which was your upside trend bias, right? We said when the daily trend was lost, we're going to gap down on the weekly. We did exactly that. We've been rounding off at the weekly. We're rejecting at the daily. What ENA needs to do is reclaim 60, which is our range low, and break the daily downtrend. Right now, you're in a compression. So you would want to be optimistic at the lows, and you're looking for this to break through the highs, right? This is pretty much what you're working with on Athena, right? Adjust however your entry, you know, depending on wherever you get it. You really don't want to see this except below the weekly trend. So your invalidation is pretty damn close by. If you get a reclaim on the range, I think you can ride this all the way up to range highs. So I think this looks good. It's just chopping everyone's balls off down here. ONDO, something that I don't think a lot of people are looking at, but to me, one of the coins that is, it's just holding value. It's just going sideways. It's not bleeding. It hasn't sold off. It found a bottom all the way back in like February, right? And we're just been going sideways ever since. We shifted from holding 66 as our Pico bottom to now going back and holding above the listing anchored, right? Multiple stabs at this location. 108 is ironclad resistance. This is God tier resistance, right? I think if you get above 108, you're going to 164. That's the way I see it. I think you can invalidate yourself based on acceptance below the listing anchored or mid-range, right, for a swing. This RR tool that I put on my charts sometimes, guys, it doesn't always represent the actual trade that I'm taking. A lot of times I'm using these to represent the trade idea. So whenever you see these on my charts and I'm not commenting on them, take it with a grain of salt. The target, the prime target for acceptance above 108 is going to be 164 for me. I parked a little bit of money here, just as like it can take its time. Like, you know, the Patrick Rock meme from SpongeBob, like, it's okay, Rocky, you go when you feel like. That's how I think ONDO is going to play out. Like, it'll go when it feels like. And when it goes, I think this will be a quality trade. If you don't want to sit in this chop like me, just wait for the 108 break. Set some alerts here and take a look at it when it comes. PEPE. PEPE is pretty much the same as ONDO, right? I positioned myself on PEPE right here. Took a little bit of profits, wasn't much, but I paid myself some. Bought some back on the drawdown and kind of just been sitting in it forever. Recently, I closed out the PEPE position to move some of my money across the market in different assets. And then I just picked up a swing long this morning, right? For me, PEPE is pretty simple, right? You really just don't want to see acceptance below whatever this is, 88 or 90. Call it 90, make it simple. You don't want to see acceptance below this. A wick below, a deviation below, no big deal. You don't want this to accept and hold below and reject because that opens up 53. As long as this is being held, I think at some point this quarter, you're probably going to clean up a lot of this. Main resistance on PEPE is going to be, I think it's like 17. On the, where is it? Coinbase chart. This is your final boss. Your anchored VWAP. This has rejected you 1 time, 2 times, right? If you're taking a trade like me, your invalidation, like I mentioned, is below here. It's not a hard stop or anything like that. It is a, fixed invalidation based on what I want to see around that level, right? TP1, listing anchored. If you can get acceptance above this, I think it brings on that parabolic drive. I think that's where things get a little bit fun. TP2, value area high of the listing. TP3, daily demand. Or, well, why did I label it as daily demand? That's not daily demand. It's a point of breakdown. That's PEPE. I think if I have to guess how PEPE plays out, I think it's disappointing in terms of upside. Meaning, I don't think at this point you're getting these anymore. This felt like a kind of thesis completion-ish top where, Trump's launching a meme coin. This is in the meme category. It get listed on Coinbase, listed on Upbit, listed on Robinhood. All of the great things happened at once. And it was very, very close to flipping ship. I think it was like 40% off. So what I think could happen for this thesis, I think there's a possibility where PEPE could flip ship, but at the same time, PEPE can put in like a pretty lame move, right? Like it doesn't have to go to fresh all-time highs of 40. It can disappoint on the USD pair while still flipping ship, which is why I think this was, kind of the thesis completion top for me. Like I mentioned, guys, if you're just rolling in, there are, I don't know how many chart requests in chat. There's no way for me to get to all of them, right? So I apologize in advance. It's not going to be possible today. Let's move on. Any other coins I want to talk about? So Doge. I think Doge looks great. This has consistently made higher highs and higher lows. Each low was set with a little bit of accumulation, right? So it didn't just spike down. We're building out these bases, ripping higher, building out a base, ripping higher, building out a base, ripping higher. I think it looks phenomenal, right? And I think as far as memes go, it's one of the strongest ones. It's stronger than PEPE. It's stronger than a bunch of other things, stronger than FARTCOIN, of course. I think this doodle's from last week's Paragon stream, which said basically, I think price was right here. It was a Wednesday stream. So price was probably right here. I was basically saying if you get any pullback back towards this, you want to ape that. Dips were shallow. Again, this thing looks very, very strong. I think you just simply, I think you're just a dip buyer here, right? On something like Doge. This has been in a really good uptrend basically since the April bottom. Okay. Do you use 2 standard deviation for monthly and quarterly VWAP to TP or entry? I don't. I have never actually used the second standard deviation on monthlies or quarterlies. I have been advised by people that use quarterlies and that use VWAPs to take a look at those things. I just have never before. Now, in opposition to that, my intraday trading system is purely based on the standard deviation too. So it's not like I'm a stranger to this. This is like a core part. Actually, it's an integral part of the intraday system. It's just not something that I've ever used for high time frame VWAPs like the monthly or the quarterly or the yearly, right? I've never really paid attention to standard deviation 2 or 3 or 4, but I've been told that they're pretty valuable. Let me scroll up and see if there's any questions in here I want to answer. We'll go back to chart requests later. Doc, in the breakout trading and 50% retrace, do you have advice to know when to bid them? You look for confluence. I'm not going to give away. I have a whole video on this in Paragon, so I don't really feel like giving away the whole thing right now on the public stream. Look, this is the idea, right? The idea is you want a Chad breakthrough, right? On the pullback, all you're looking for is saying, I'm looking at this as a sign of weakness. If we perfectly tag this level, if there's a decent opportunity, yes, we will bounce. There's decent opportunity that whatever this breakout was is going to get cooked anyways, right? So you can use that bounce to like exit or something like that. But I basically look for triggers down here. Now, my triggers can be on an intraday basis if the market allows for that. If this is like Bitcoin or something like that, and we pull back into, possibly the daily VWAP, or we could have a very low time frame trend, right? So it's like this leg right here is what I'm highlighting. Maybe you have a 5-minute EMA, right? And maybe you push away like this, and you do a little consolidation. And by the time you get this dip, which is like the 50% retrace, the 5-minute EMA catches up, and you get a little bit of confluence in that region. So there's multiple triggers you can use. What I'm trying to explain in this point is the idea between a strong breakout and a weak breakout. Weak breakout, something like this, just barely pushes that above. Do you want to long something like this? No, right? You want a Chad candle through that. Something I used to say a lot on Twitter, I think people stole from me and I don't say it anymore, is you break, I defend, right? And it's this idea that I've always had when it comes to resistance levels. I'm not going to be the guy. Dude, my $10 honey size position is not going to break resistance, right? I'm not going to be able to do anything. But if the Chad whales break it, I will help defend it. That's when I can put my $10 position in the market and try to play trend continuation, right? I'm not going to do this. I'll be comfortable buying higher. So you break, I defend. I don't really want to be that aggressive into resistance myself. We covered Doge, yes. XRP. Thoughts on Bitcoin dominance? Yeah, good question. As in 2017 and 2022, it bottomed in October and peaked at 70% at the end of October and early November. Do you see this happening again? I'm not going to speak on historical Bitcoin dominance charts. Too much speculation. I don't really like speculating on 4-year cycles and stuff like that either. When we approached this level a couple months ago, I thought this was going to be a pretty decent place for Bitcoin dominance to bottom. What I needed to see is to break the dominant downtrend, right? Daily trend, dominant downtrend. What do we see here? Momentum loss, shifting character, trading above the daily. This is not the most inspiring move of all time as far as Bitcoin dominance goes, but I do think there's a pretty decent opportunity for this to trade a little bit higher into 60. I think we can trade, hopefully this goes way higher, right? Because like I said at the start of the stream, the number one thing I said at the start of the stream, I want Bitcoin to lead this breakout. I don't care about alts ripping right now. Alts can take a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks and just do nothing. I don't really care. Continue flushing people in these ranges for all I care. The higher Bitcoin goes, the better our risk on rotations are going to be. And what you would like to see is, since BTC dominance broke this dominant downtrend, I want to see Bitcoin dominance making a move like this. And then once we do this, and whatever Bitcoin's at, whether it's 130 or 140 or hopefully much, much higher, then we can start rotating back in alts, and we can say, hey, that was our complacency shoulder, lower high, something or another on Bitcoin. And this is our risk on environment for the market. And this is total 3 giving you a Chad breakout above all-time highs. It's not just babing through this, it's giving you a Chad candle through this. And this is Ethereum, once again, not just wicking above all-time high, but chatting above all-time high. And then the money rotates into ETH price discovery and total 3 price discovery and everything like that. But for now, what I want to see is I want to see Bitcoin lead, and I would love to see this transpire through Bitcoin dominance. You asked someone to remind you about SOLETH. So the last time I talked about SOLETH, I said that this is going to be kind of an impossible level to break. It's going to be a very, very difficult level to break, especially in the first time around. Why? Okay, we can't get the full week, whatever, screw it. We'll just go back to this chart. My EMAs bug out sometimes on these pair charts. Okay. You guys know this price, more price history, but resistance, 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 big breakthrough, support, support, momentum loss, right? The momentum is driving upwards, it's rotating, you lose the weekly trend, you try your best to bottom at this SR, you break through it, and this is your underside rejection. Now pay attention, the weekly trend has been goaded in the SOLETH chart. Actually, let me go back and not be lazy and show you guys this. Let's go to the full history and let me use this and move it to on the weekly. What's highlighted right now? 7 and 8. Yeah, we want 2, 3. Weekly trend. Weekly uptrend. Weekly trend is lost. SOLETH bear market. SOLETH bear market. Momentum loss. Sideways. Reclaim the weekly trend. Bull market. What's happening here? You lost the weekly. You lost the range highs. You lost all-time highs. You deviated above here. You bearishly rejected and bearishly backtested this region. I don't know if you want to bet on this for SOLETH. I think it makes a lot more sense to just say, you know, we don't have to bet on this either, but who cares about this chart at this point? The highest EV trade was this one for SOLETH. SOLETH is no longer a high EV trade, in my opinion. So I don't think you should hang your hat too much on what is SOLETH doing. I think just take good trades on SOL, take good trades on ETH. Let it be that, right? But understand that, like, character has shifted in this chart dramatically. If you wanted to take any trade on this, it would make more sense to be bearish on SOLETH than it would to be bullish. That's what the chart's telling you. How would you trade breakout long on BTC? What I wanted, since, you know, we're coming into a fresh week, Monday, I wanted any type of pullback today. I would have jumped on any type. We got nothing, which is why I focus on alts this morning. Let's get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of this. Yesterday, when we were kind of ranging in this location, where's my fixed range? Why am I blind? There it is. There we go. We were ranging right here before the weekly open. I was hoping for, if we're going to get a shallow dip, just to run the weekend lows. That's it. Not even hit 120, just the weekend lows, 121.5. Even that got front run. Because I'm looking at this and I'm saying the most dominant meta that we have in the market right now is the monthly VWAP, right? Every single tag at this level has provided opportunity. This to me looked like the first time, because we're retracing this expansion, we've taken the liquidity of all-time highs, we've dropped back in this composite value, we're shifting a little bit deeper into the monthly value versus all of these like amazing reactions off this level. So saying maybe we can just get a little bit of a deviation below here, that would have been a nice trigger for longs. I didn't get that. I know maybe some people long this. I didn't get this. So if you're going to play trend continuation, the only thing you want to do is hang your hat on the exact same meta that the market is providing you. Right? So if you go up here and we tag this region again, that could be a great opportunity to take a long. When this meta shifts is when we start holding into the monthly value. That's going to bring in these levels that we talked about at the start of the stream. Quick question. You probably answered this a bunch of times. What's your opinion on prop firms like Breakout? Would you recommend building up the port slowly than your own small money? So I never used a prop firm. I've never borrowed money. In fact, there was a time in 2020 before I even bought crypto or anything like that, and I was trading stocks. I didn't really know what I was doing. My dad gave me some money. I started off with like a very small amount of money, like low 4 figs. And he gave me a little bit of money. He's like, if you're enjoying this, like here's a little bit more cash, right? And I lost all his money. I lost it all in like a couple weeks. Then he offered it to me again somewhere in 2022. And he's like, you know, you're taking this seriously, if, you know, whatever. Like he didn't really love my decision to move from medicine to trading, but he respected, he supported it, right? He was a little scared. But once again, he offered me some money. And that time I refused. I was like, I'm not taking your money this time. Absolutely not, right? So the idea of a prop firm is basically you have a low amount of capital. You pass an exam, you show your worth, right? You show that you're competent, and they give you access to more capital. So if you're highly confident in yourself, that you're profitable, it's basically allowing you to skip steps. It's allowing you to skip the grind from 5 grand to 20 grand, right? It's allowing you to skip some steps, and it's just saying, here's 25 grand, here's 50 grand, here's 100 grand, trade with this. Now, there's 2 ways to look at Breakout or any prop firms for that matter. One is, yeah, you can take the shortcut if you're highly confident in yourself. Go ahead, right? There's no downside, right? Take the extra capital. I think generally in our industry, a lot of respected people, a lot of people that I respect, you know, recommend Breakout, right? I've never actually used it myself, and you know, I can't give you any firsthand accounts, but it's generally agreed upon that it's a good product. Not like a bucket shop, you know, route your orders through some B tier exchange or anything like that. I lost my train of thought. Now, since I went the route of growing my account and not taking people's money and not going to prop firm, not even taking my dad's money, I would recommend doing that. I think that it just feels, you know, if I look back and I said, would I change it? I wouldn't change it. I would do it the way that I did it. I don't know if that answers your question or not. You can alt enter to maximize and split. You're correct. And I think about it sometimes. I just forget all the time. It's not programmed in my brain to do that. Fade of the 4-hour trend retest yesterday and useless. Could have been a nice scalp looking for the next setup. I don't know where is this. There's always infinite setups, man. Bitcoin gold chart is alpha. Dude, that's the best hopium that we have right now, man. I hope this like catches on globally and we're all talking about this. And everyone's like, oh yeah, Bitcoin's cheap. Like this is what we want. We don't want people thinking in terms of 125K Bitcoin. We want people thinking in terms of like, oh, we haven't even started yet. We haven't even broken out yet. We haven't even gotten to price discovery yet. That's the way that we want people framing Bitcoin. So yeah, this is one of the most hopium charts that we have, and let's go, baby. I'm all here for the bullish propaganda. M2 gold, whatever narratives you want to say to bull post Bitcoin higher prices, I'll take it, man. I'm not going to argue. Bitcoin all-time high during stream. Listen, man. If you didn't know by now that doc streams are bullish, You're gonna learn. I think I have the Midas touch when it comes to streams. There's got to be some statistic of Wednesday 10 a.m. to noon Eastern Standard Time. The market is going to go up every week on Wednesday from 10 to 12, from 10 to noon Eastern Time. Because that's when I do my Paragon streams, and the market's always ripping during that time somehow magically. When you trade VWAPs, do you wait for it to deviate outside and then reclaim? No, okay. So any level, I think this is the way you want to think about any level. A support resistance level, an order block, a VWAP, an EMA, whatever. It's just a point of interest. This is a location where you're looking for triggers and looking for reasons to be bullish. Sometimes those reasons are, oh, we've lost it and we've reclaimed it. Sometimes, hey, we tagged it, we swept it. Sometimes it's, hey, we just got first test, best test. Right? Sometimes you got confluence here with another item, right? Another VWAP, another EMA, another something or another. So just remember, these are just levels for you to make game plans around. There's no strict, like, I'm only going to take this trade at this level if this particular thing happens. Sometimes it's a different trigger. Sometimes it's someone puking a position. Sometimes there's a lot of effort going in. Like, look at PUMPFUN. Here's a great example. Like, what is your trigger down here? It's just crabbing in a tight little range at the lows. What did I look at? I just said this is momentum loss, right? This is bears hammering into lows, unable to break us down. We're getting absorption in this location. It's only a matter of time till we break the 4-hour trend, right? So you just got to see what's happening at those levels, not just, you know, try to predict based on, oh, if I don't get this and I don't get that and I don't get this. I think it's just all about that. Good morning, Wave. You think FARTCOIN goes below 164 before 105? I don't care. I don't care. I'm focused on the high time frame for that coin. I do not give a damn what happens on a 5% basis down here. Who cares? This is the chart you want to look at for FARTCOIN, in my opinion. Don't min-max 3% trade down here. To you know, if your targets are up there. I actually made this mistake myself, and I had to remind myself this the hard way. I took a trade on, was it Saturday or Friday? I think it was Friday. This pullback into the 4-hour trend, right? Strong 4-hour downtrend, resistance, flip to support. I longed right here, and I made a tight stop. I said, basically, I don't want to stop myself out. This is the way I drew my trade out. I was like, I'm aiming for, like, up here. I'm aiming for up here. But I placed my stop under the 4-hour trend because I'm like, hopefully we'll just start a magical 4-hour trend. I'll never be underwater. I got stopped out the next morning. I woke up Saturday morning, I was stopped out. And that's something I have to remind myself too, right? I'll make these mistakes sometimes. And I remind myself, if my target is so high, why am I trying to min-max and get this fucking 400R trade, right? Sometimes it'll work out for you. Last week I took a Bitcoin trade. You may have seen the clip. It was in fact like a 26R trade. I risked very little. I made a lot. But ideally for swings like this, give yourself a little bit more room. Doc's dad for supporting his son even when he was unsure if it was the right move. Yeah, man. My dad's the GOAT. My dad's the best. The way I see it, breakout is just another form of leverage. Could be. Do you still believe in the 4-year cycle? I haven't believed in the 4-year cycle or set my mental framework as far as trading or positioning based on the 4-year cycle since the beginning of 2023. In the beginning of 2023, I looked at this with the idea that this is the echo bubble, right? Whatever forms here is the echo bubble. And in fact, I've talked about this publicly so many times. I got on the back foot right here because I sold this top, right? I traded a little bit, but I was mainly like just chilling during this time. I caught PEPE the first time around in this location. I was feeling myself. I caught a Bitcoin long in here That was really the main trade of that summer. I caught a Bitcoin long in here. I TP'd early. I didn't catch the whole move. And I basically bear posted this top for like a month straight. I kept on updating. I was like, that's the top. It's the 2023 top. The Echo Bubble top is in. We're going to have to wait for 2024. And down here, I maintained that. I was like, okay, if we come a little bit lower, I'll buy. If we come a little bit lower, I'll buy. Because my idea was in this just fantasy of 2023 is the Echo Bubble, 2024 starts the bull run, 2025 is this, 2026 the bear market. I was thinking like that back then. And it caught me on this back foot right here and I had to adjust all the way up at 28K. This is where I started adjusting and started putting on size and putting on positioning again. The only positioning I had down here was like PEPE and Solana. I had my Solana bag packed. I had my PEPE bag packed. I had a bunch of stables. So I was putting the stables in the market right here. So there's a lesson for me since then to say, I'm going to play this market as a risk curve rotation. I'm going to look to be risk on when my levels are tagged. I'm going to look to risk off when trends are broken, and we can look to do it again and again and again and again. And because of that mentality, I was able to de-risk this high and buy this low. I was able to de-risk these highs and buy the, what do you call it? Israel-Iran FUD lows, right? I was able to go all in on the September pullback right here, calling for a higher low. Right, there was so many times I was able to buy this tariff FUD low, right? Sell this top when the 4-hour trend was lost, and when the daily trend was lost, I was like, it's cooked, it's going to tag the weekly. So I choose to look at the market the same way. I'm just going to continue looking at this as a risk on, risk off, and not concern myself with 4-year cycles and bear markets and bull markets and this and that. We just play the meta that's at hand here. Friday mag stream cursed. Hey man, we ripped during Magus' stream on Friday, didn't we? New meta. This was Magus' stream on Friday. We almost hit all-time highs. Thoughts on Link? I think it looks great. It did exactly what it needed to do, right? It lost the daily, it gapped down to the weekly. Daily trend, weekly trend gap. This is your high time frame, mid-range, range high, range low, mid-range, tagged close to mid-range, held the weekly trend, reclaiming the daily. It looks fantastic. Pretty sure we talked about Link down here. If we did, it'll be timestamped in one of the prior streams. But I think Link looked good right here. That was a really good opportunity. I personally was looking at other things, not Link. But yeah, I think it looks good, man. So you don't recommend ever blind bidding a level unless it's super high confluent with area, look for immediate reaction. I do sometimes. I'll take a first test, best test. If we trade off really sharply into a level that I have a high level of interest in, and I think we'll bounce the first time around. This is a trade that I often take when Bitcoin is marking up on the daily and it drops down to the weekly. The first test of the weekly is a prime location for me to be ballsy and look for a bounce. This is a trade that I took back in, was it June? Right here. Daily trend loss. We got the first test of the weekly. That was a banger. I even picked up Bitcoin right here on this test of the weekly. It went underwater, but as you guys can see, it turned out okay. So yeah, like you want very defined rules, but every rule is going to have some nuance and a caveat to it. But I don't recommend your whole system being blind blind limit orders at levels. I think should be a little bit more nuance to it than that. Do cards? I'll do it in a bit, man. Don't worry. I got you. What is cards? Is it like a 5 million market cap coin? I was asking about FARTCOIN because I full ported with 5x lev. Hey, man, good luck to you. Good luck to us. Hopefully you don't get liquidated and then it pulls up a 3x afterwards. Any chance we could look at Pengu? Yeah, sure. Weekly trend is lost. How would you play the markets? I would say that there's a significant character shift in Bitcoin if the weekly trend is lost on the CME chart. I would say we have a significant character shift, and I would probably play this as a range. So the three things I look at if trend is lost, number 1 is range, number 2 is fresh downtrend, and number 3, lowest EV, is reclaim continuation. So let's do a hypothetical. This is the top. We lose the weekly. What's the next location? This whole thing, in my opinion, looks like a deviation over this level. This becomes my range low. This is confluent with this high. I think we trade down to here. I think this is a long. I think this long puts in probably a lower high, probably gets capped at this high. Maybe it overshoots a little bit. I just play the whole thing as a range. I'm not going to bamboozle you again. 50 mil? Okay, all right, we'll do it. Can you draw a long position on Link so I can see what an entry would look like from here? Sure, I can go back and do that. Your setup for intraday scalp, that is going to be in Paragon. That is not a public thing. We got to keep some things in-house, guys. I basically spoon feed on these streams setups all the time. We got to keep some stuff in-house. Cards is a Sui project that is rumored to be working with Pokemon, I think. Ooh, spicy. Is Cards on here? Bro, what are these doodles? All right, boys, here it is. Defend. Defend. Look for this to round off. Defend here. You don't want this to break below. This is a really good pullback. Really sharp. 45% in a day. 1 day, 4 hours, 45% down. I think you look for a bounce right here. And as always with these doodle trades, we'll see how it plays out next week. Pretty sure all I said down here is look for this to go sideways for a while. Reclaim this. Now we're saying, let's hope that we can hold, what is this, 20 cents. Press like or Bitcoin nukes. Press like. Not sure why, but your analysis makes so much sense. Everything just ties in so well. Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks, man. In my defense, my intent was never to trick you. Don't worry, man. I'm not taking it personally. Thoughts on Litecoin and Monero? Dude, we're really back. We're so back. Like, look at the amount of tickers that we're getting questions on. Everyone is interested in trading everything under the sun right now. Everything's in play. What was this? Daily trend loss? What did we say here? Let's try to reframe it. This is resistance. This is a breakout. You want this to consolidate. If this is lost, you're going to get the daily. That's your last stand. Drop to the weekly. Man, this is cancer. Holy shit. Let's do a quick scan and see how well we respect the 4 hour. It's not great. It's okay. It's not great. If someone told me I had to trade Litecoin, I would say I'm gonna try to position right here. Monero. Oh yeah, this thing went crazy recently. I forgot. Buy dips into 300 if given. Simple. Buy dips into 300 if it's given. Invalidation down here from a tight trade setup perspective. Doc, just curious, are you white? I'm half Filipino, half Puerto Rican, and half Japanese. And half Irish. Happy all-time high? Oh, let's go. Wait. Whatever. Happy all-time high in the next 3 minutes. Bro is half of everything? That's right. Bro is two people, dude. 2025, man, I identify as 4 halves of a whole. Can you do that link position I requested? Sure. All right, we're gonna have to clean some shit up, man. Chase some god candles, huh? All right. This is a really strong expansion away from local consolidation. This is where you can get the breakout idea in. You do not want this to drop back into here. Dropping back into here just means it's more chop rotational trading. Dropping back in here opens up the opportunity for 22. So you kind of want this to be shallower around 23 and lead to continuation, right? You marked up, you consolidated long enough, you're getting a prime breakout. You want the breakout dip to be shallow. You don't want it to be too deep. Underneath 22 opens up the opportunity, or excuse me, under 23 opens up the opportunity for 22 again. Simple as that. New Bitcoin all-time high? All right. Hopefully you guys aren't lying this time. What chart are we looking at all-time high on? Oh, we're probably looking at the Coinbase chart, huh? I default to Nance perps for everything. So we're just a little shy. We'll put the alert on so everyone can see it on this chart. Thoughts on Solana and Pump? Super weak recently. I already covered both of those. I think Pump looks good. It's front running where I wanted to bid, and I'm probably have to readjust. It's holding the daily 100 as support. I was wanting to kind of very strongly pack on size again at the daily, excuse me, at the 4 hourly 200. So I'm long Pump from down here. I've traded around my position twice, selling into the Sunday move, rebuying a little bit. Some of these rebuys went underwater. Exited 50% of the position at prior monthly value area high. I don't want to compound. So ideally, the market gives me a little bit lower. If Bitcoin's just going to be a chat, I'm not going to get filled on any of this. But this is where I ideally want to bid, is right around 60. If this rounds out in this location, I'll have to adjust and try to buy back into the new momentum. My chart is 125.9. Yeah, it's probably the Coinbase chart. Coinbase trades at quite a premium to the Nance perps. Okay, guys. Okay. It doesn't matter if we're all-time high right this second or not, right? We can celebrate regardless. We're happy regardless. Who cares about the semantics of what chart it's all-time high on? Number go up. Facts. All right, we are 90 minutes in. I finally got caught up with chat. Yes, I missed at least half the chart requests. Covered everything I wanted to cover as far as every ticker that I wanted to cover, every game plan for every ticker that I wanted to cover. I think I missed ASTER. Let's do ASTER. I had someone ask me on a stream recently if this was a solid PO3, and they took an entry right here. So whoever that was, shout out to you. Good trade, bro. I think this was like his trade. Pretty damn close. ASTER even gave you another prime opportunity along this level with this pullback last night. This morning. I think it looks fine, man. It's probably not gonna go crazy in one candle. That would be my gut feel. It's probably gonna be confined to this range a little bit. The resistance is gonna be about 230. You're trading at a premium already, so continuation bids are gonna have to be a little bit tighter of setups. If you do get range low again, you can jump on that. Little sucks to, you know, have price here when I could have told you last night that this is a pretty damn good location to bid. From here, I think the keen viewers of this stream so far will know exactly what I'm going to say here. So I'd rather test you guys and see if you learned anything from the stream today versus giving you the answers again. Tell us about life, Doc. Life is good. 2025 is the happiest I've been since fucking teenage years. It has been a lot of stress in my life for like 10 years straight. And this year is the first year in a long time I got to relax a little bit. I'm very blessed and happy to say that. I live around my friends again. Some of my friends have kids now. I get to see them all the time. Everyone's doing aspirational things. My cousin lives pretty close to me. Just moved to Virginia a couple days ago. He's quitting his job and starting. He wants to build. He wants to build an AI. He's a software engineer, computer engineer. I actually don't know the exact title, but he's been working government contract jobs for like 5 or 8 years, and he's like, "Yeah, screw this. It's time to stop working for the man and start being the man." So we wish him luck. I know he'll be able to do it. Is Q4 BSC or Sol season? I would say just from a game theory perspective, it would probably be BSC just because we haven't gotten that rotation yet and the market loves new and shiny. I know Binance Chain isn't new and shiny, but the fact that you could bridge there and do things there, it'll just feel new to people. So I would be inclined to say that. Doesn't mean that Solana is going to be chopped liver. Solana will probably still be strong. Solana shitcoining will still be strong. That's where probably most of the volume will still be. But yeah, there'll probably be a decent opportunity on Binance Chain. Imagine wanting to buy Bitcoin and using Robinhood and having to buy 2% higher because it went down. That sucks, man. Do we still get 50% pumps in the bear market? Can we still make money in the bear market? Absolutely, man. If you want to trade counter trend, you can trade counter trend. You want to trade with the trend, you trade with the trend. You could do it hypothetically right now and just say, if this whole thing, if this is how Bitcoin looked, how would you trade it? If Bitcoin looked like this instead of the way it normally looks, where would you take the trades from? What trades would you take? It's the exact same thing. Nothing changes. Nothing changes. Pump looks bottomed. Could be. I may just be a little greedy and I might have to adjust. It's starting to look like that a little bit. I would agree with you. I would agree with you. I think there's a lot of us that probably want to buy down here. So it makes sense that it's rounding off. So I'd be happy to adjust. This is what trading is, guys. You make, I think like 90% of the plans I make for trades don't even like play out, right? I make mental plans of I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I don't know what the number is. Maybe it's 50%. I have no idea. But the point is a lot of the plans don't play out. But the difference between someone, you know, that can do this for a living and someone who's just, you know, kind of toying with it is the ability to have backup plans. You don't just say, this is my only plan. You say, this is my backup plan. This is what I'm going to do otherwise. If I don't get the setup on this coin, I'm going to go to the other coin because I like that one. If my level gets front run, this is how I'm going to adjust. If my level gets blown through, this is how I'm going to adjust. This is how I'm going to place my invalidation. Oh, wait, price action formed X way instead of Y way. I have to adjust the way that I'm taking this setup, right? So the market's all about adjustments. You sound so joyful and relaxed that listening to your lives just cures itself. Yeah, I mean, hey, look. I think life should be stressful. I think it should be hard. I think each of us should or have adversity that we're supposed to overcome. And be very careful when you're in these joyish moments where you feel like everything's great, because that's how you become complacent. That's how you stop working hard. That's how everyone starts passing you and working harder than you, and they have something to, prove, and they have something to, that they're trying to achieve. And that's life, when each person says, I've done enough, that's when they start dying. So, I've thought about that a lot this entire year. I've thought about where do I motivate myself? What goals do I achieve? And I've been, I don't know if Magus is still in here in chat, but I've shared with him and Charlie what my next goal is as far as trading goes. I'm not going to share that with you guys. We'll keep it in-house, but we're working towards it. I'm very optimistic. Always got to set new goals, man. I did a thread on this recently that didn't do that well as far as engagement went, but I think it's the most important thread that I've written. Because there's something for everyone in each part of their journey in there. Where's Brave Browser? Right here. So I have this thread that's like the mega thread of all the education that I've done. And the most recent one was this right here. So I'm not going to read it to you guys, but on your own time, go check it out. You'll find it in the highlights. This tab right here. FARTCOIN and ENA looked, but I think a lot of coins do looked bottom. I think there's a lot of opportunity, but like I said, I'm going to repeat this again for like the 5th time today. We want Bitcoin to lead. Everyone right now is going to be horny for their altcoins, and their altcoins are not like, let me warn you about this. If Bitcoin just stalls here and gets cooked, all your altcoins are getting decimated, in my opinion. If Bitcoin starts ranging right here, that lowers my upside targets. If we start ranging right here and alt starts catching up in a big way, I don't know if Bitcoin is going that high. So right now, as a bull, what you want to see is you want Bitcoin you want it to go by itself. You want it to do one of these rallies where altcoins are lagging until here. think that this move is where altcoins went crazy, right? Again, Bitcoin solo, I think altcoins started going crazy up here. That's what we want to see. If Bitcoin just makes it too range high and we start getting altcoin rotations, I think the upside on Bitcoin is not as high as people think. So I would almost right now just be like, yeah, the positions that I picked up and all of that, I don't care. Let them chop around for another 2-3 weeks if they need to, if that means Bitcoin can do a solo rip. That's what I want. Do you have to scalp or bias towards low time frame in trades in a bear market because of low volatility? No, we get tons of low volatility even in the bull market. Would you consider this high volatility? Even take the totality of this. This is 8-10% moves on Bitcoin, right? This is lower volatility. So I don't think bear market's gonna say, oh, we're gonna do that, because bro, we've been doing this. Like we've been cooked on volatility for a little bit. When volatility is low, then yeah, you can cater towards lower time frames. When volatility is high and there's, you know, expansionary opportunity, you cater towards swings. What's your BTC target upwards? My most optimistic target is that we flip NVIDIA's market cap. And I know NVIDIA's gone up a lot. So last year in December, the target was like 160K Bitcoin. Whatever NVIDIA is now should be the most bullish target that I have, is flipping NVIDIA. Appreciate your meta rotation education, which reframes me from late rotating into BSC. Interesting. Yeah, I haven't caught up with BSC. I think the fact that I haven't been tempted to bridge over to BSC means that you're not late. I think when I get tempted to be like, oh, let me go shitcoin on BSC, you can use me as a counter signal and be like, oh, Doc's rotating to BSC? Oh shit, we're probably like late innings now. My bro, Doc's APT weekly close is good. Oh, Doc, you probably meant. APT weekly close is good, and Sui making compression. I'll look at Sui. Yeah, Sui looks good. Sui looks good. This is a really nice momentum loss, like rounded bottom, where we're starting to push up. Let's take it from here. Bears have failed to break this down since August 3rd, right? It's kind of rounding off in this location. You're still in bearish market structure, but I think you can be optimistic on this with a swing in validation under 3.7. Shouldn't be revisited. If you came down at this point, you would want this to be a higher low. A lot of coins that we looked at look like this. We looked at PEPE, we looked at ONDO, we looked at, you know, I don't know how many coins that we looked at. They're all kind of in this moment. Yes, they chatted up and they're kind of going sideways right here. Link, so many things. So whatever I said for those coins is going to apply to Sui as well. How long at this price range would it be ranging? How soon would you be looking for Bitcoin to meaningfully break out and up? Look, man, Bitcoin can chop upwards and look ugly and look like it's going to lose levels and look like it's going to break down and just continue this type of grind up for longer than bears can handle. It's no stranger to this type of price action. I would love any type of short-lived, you know, range where we could do something like this. I don't know if Bitcoin's going to be kind enough to give that to us. We already talked about downside targets and stuff like that should Bitcoin pull back. We already talked about useless. We had a fun one talking about that coin. If you guys missed a coin, right, and you missed something that I talked about, just wait. I don't know how many hours. I have a homie that timestamps it, but he usually does it the next day. So look, like literally, 20 hours from now, the timestamps will be up. But there's been a dude in the comment section that has been hooking it up and doing it a lot quicker. So look for his comment. He may post it sooner than Wusong, my editor, does. SOLETH on a high time frame looks horrendous. We looked at it a little bit earlier. Yeah. I don't think it looks good. I think by all measures, it doesn't look great to me. Price action, trends. We didn't even cover VWAPs, but I think even the yearly VWAP looks terrible. Like all we did was bearishly reject the yearly value area low. I saw your comment earlier, Lucifer, about like 99% of people expecting Altseason. I see you deleted it, but yeah. Here's the thing. I think a few times a year, we get the opportunity to go very risk on across the market, and kind of every meta in the market gets a little bit of a time in the spotlight, memes and this and DeFi and boomer coins and whatever. But in order to get that rotation, you need Bitcoin to lead. This is what you want. If Bitcoin wants to range up here, fine. But at least get us to here first. At least start consolidating a little bit higher. I think if it starts here and you start getting alts to do this, right? If alts start ripping while Bitcoin's consolidating, I don't know, man. I think we're not going to go as high as people think. I could be wrong, but that's just how the market has presented itself this entire cycle. You can stop the stream. Magus just posted 130K, the end. That's all he's looking for is 4K more. You should comment under that and be like, then why aren't you selling your Bitcoin spot? Put some pressure on the guy. Let's see where Mag's post is. Oh, he's posting ETH. I agree with him on ETH wholeheartedly. I think ETH is gearing up for big moves. I don't think we've seen the ETH move yet. It did everything it needed to do. This is like the cleanest chart in crypto, man. We talked about the final boss. We talked about breaking out. We got the retest. It's bouncing upwards. Breaking through all-time high. 69.42, guys. 69.42. There's your TP. Do I have a TP2? TP2 96.42. Thanks. Look at APT. I think I've got some clickbaity hopium on this chart that I like doodled a long time ago. There you go. Here's your APT hopium. Someone feel free to screenshot this and steal it as your own content on CT and get 1,000 likes. ZRO. What is ZR? Layer 0? Is this because what's his name is Pepper? Pepper, are you creating a meta? I haven't heard about this coin since I saw Pepper tweet about it either today or yesterday, and now I'm getting asked about ZRO. Funny how easily people can be influenced. Is there something going on about ZRO that I don't know about, or is he just having some fun? It's in an accumulation range. It's rejecting mid-range. We already talked about range breakout mechanics. I'm not going to repeat that. You want to accumulate, look for range lows. If it doesn't give you range lows, look for the expansion above local highs. XPL uses ZRO. Interesting. Doesn't everything use layer 0? Isn't that just like a protocol that like connects all chains? All right, boys. Last chart requests, and then we got to change it up because I'm getting exhausted of chart requests. Jesus Christ, man. Best candle in this coin's history. Guys, the last time I looked at this coin was here. This is something... Never mind, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. I had something to say that was potentially spicy. All right. So that's your weekly candle close. If upside buys from this, you want to be buying this week's discount, right? Look at the weekly open, look for triggers at the weekly discount, look for the weekly to close green. Any trends? 4-hour trend. 4-hour trend has been goated. 1, 2, 3, 4 test. When the 4-hour trend is lost, gap down to the daily. Daily will catch up. It's not going to be this steep. There you go. We'll return to this in a few weeks and see how it plays out. Took profit on ETH at 42-ish when it was at the previous month's VWAP, begging for another entry. I think I made a mistake. There'll always be new entries, man. Having a hard time paying attention because now I keep wondering what you were going to say. I think you should say it so we can all refocus. No, 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 no. We're not going to say it. We're not going to get in trouble. You're going to have to let it go, my friend. Quick shout out to the sponsors, Coinbase Advanced and BonkBot. Coinbase told me that they're adding market makers in October. Actually, I don't know if I was allowed to leak that. I apologize if I wasn't allowed to leak that. But they've assured us basically that more liquidity is coming. We've aired our concerns to them, that's saying that it's like, you know, it's very tough to trade on Coinbase right now. And they heard us loud and clear. So hopefully that changes. The minute that I'm able to trade size on Coinbase without, you know, worries about slippage and stuff is the minute I will, because I've already told you guys that I think it's going to be the easiest thing for American citizens, you know, to have money onshore instead of offshore exchanges in a regulated fashion, right? Would you start rotating the alts yet? Are we still holding the ultimate Ponzi for a bit longer? I have started to pick up some alt positioning with the idea that I don't care if it chops around. I'm taking very high time frame swings with high time frame validations, and I'm almost hoping that my positions don't start printing immediately. I'm almost hoping that they just hang around entry and chop around and maybe even go underwater for a little bit and retrace. But I think opportunity is here, right? Let's just use one example. We've talked about this one in the stream already. There's a location that I marked out back in May. Back in May that I was like, I want this weekly demand, right? And it took 6 months to get here. And I think there's opportunity, right? So I think people that are longing this here, two things will happen to them. Either they're going to get chopped up and abandon this idea before it eventually breaks out, or they buy it, they don't care about it, they can trading Bitcoin, hoping for higher Bitcoin prices, and then this works itself out over the next few weeks. Ideally, that's what I want to see. Take that example on FARTCOIN, you can apply it to any coin in the market. There are some coins that I think are worth trading at this moment, namely PUMPFUN. This is one that I've been actively trading, bought some heavy bags down at these lows. and been trading around it a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to get this fill. I think we kind of talked about this to death already in the stream. I don't know if I'm going to get this fill and I have to adjust, but if we do get it, I would love to buy previous month's VWAP. Giving too much alpha chill? Yeah, you know what? Once in a while, it's okay. My man loves his APT. More power to you, man. Hopefully it does another scam God candle. Remember to sell, though. All right, any other questions that are not chart requests? I'm down to hang around for a little bit longer. Otherwise, we can wrap up the stream in the next 5-10 minutes. You know what's funny is I've been trying for weeks to get my public stream down to an hour and a half. But when I hit that mark, I'm like, I don't know if I just want to abruptly end. But I've been trying. I kind of want to get the public stream down a little bit and not be 2 hours. We've been doing 2 hours for 2 years or 3 years. I need to bring this stream time down a little bit. Ina's finally moving a little. I did get stopped on this on Saturday. This is the same trade I took on PEPE and on Athena. Switched from that to just realizing what this high time frame opportunity looks like and not being so concerned about perfect entries and perfect stops down here, because I think this looks good. Would you mind going over how to chart value areas one more time? So anytime a market shifts from a trending environment to a range-bound environment, and it's not so clean, sometimes you're going to get super clean examples like Athena with very clean highs and lows that are being respected on a price action basis. Sometimes you're going to get coins with really ugly, is it this one? Is it one of these? I don't know. Yeah, there it is. Really ugly highs and lows, right? You can't really dictate how clean they are. You can allow the fixed range volume profile to do it for you, right? You can just basically say, I'll take rotations if we get failed breakdowns and reclaims, right? So both of these were decent opportunities to play a rotation from composite value area low to high, right? You've had a couple of these. This would have been like the first one to take. This would have been the next one to take. Thoughts on footprint charts? I think footprint, so I've never used footprint myself. That's something I've actually wanted to use. I developed, based on, Magus' system and tooling, an intraday order flow based system for myself without using footprint charts. Some people think it's absolutely necessary to use DOM and ladder and footprint in order to read flows. I think you can get away with reading Agar, passive order book data like liquidity data, looking at open interest and volume changes, because that's exactly what I've done. I've always wanted to use footprint, and I talked about this with Magus 3-4 months ago. I was like, what do you think about me, getting Sierra charts and taking the next step and gathering more? And he's like, dude, I think the TLDR, what he said was like, dude, what's working for you is working for you. Why add more complexity? And I think at the end of the day, footprint charts are not really going to tell me anything that I don't already see using, the tooling that I'm using. It's just going to lay it out for me and be like, yeah, you know how you speculated that the guy did this? Well, here's the proof that the guy did this, right? What music is this? The artist is in the description. I credited him because I use his music all the time for my live streams. Plus EV gifts for women. I think the best gifts are stuff when you know the person and it's something they could use rather than, just whatever you want to call it, just the cliche kind of gifts of purses and bags and whatever. I get my girlfriend, I just try to pay attention, right? She'll just mention something, and if I hear her mention it more than one time, I just take a mental note, and I was like, okay, that'll be a great gift idea. So the best gift that you could give a woman is actually listening when they talk. Also, if you're like me and in like, long-term committed relationship, live together and all of that, do stuff around the house that they normally do, right? If my girlfriend is doing little things like bringing stuff from the garage or taking out the garbage, just do those things for them without even them asking. You'd be surprised how much that matters more than just a regular gift. If anyone's not been in a relationship before, that's prime alpha for you guys. Subbed, good stream. Thanks, man. Amazing stream. Hope for 1 million subs soon. I don't know about 1 million, man. It's hard to grow the channel. It's the sub count is up and to the right, but the growth is slow, man. It's slow. It's hard to grow on YouTube. Mag suspiciously absent for the EV women talk. Put a ring on it. I plan to. I'm slacking. I promise you, it's on my mind all the time. People don't think people can grasp the concept of Bitcoin leading. It prolongs the bull market. If people can get anything, please get that. Don't ever forget it. Best alpha you can never get. Yeah. I think more people get it than not. You want to take a big perp position on Pepe? How would you operate it? Do not chop yourself up. That's it. You're going to need patience because I don't think this is going to be... So Pepe, for those of you guys that forgot, used to be the strongest coin off the line when Bitcoin had even a microcosm of strength. This is true going back to down here. Bitcoin had a little bit of strength in July. This thing like 3x'd. No, 2x'd. Whatever. Bitcoin had some strength to open up October, 2x, right? Bitcoin goes to new all-time highs, 10x, right? This thing was like the first thing off the line. Bitcoin's strong, it's going nuts. Our election, Trump gets elected, rally. Look at this. This is November 6th. This is when Trump got elected. Pepe went nuts. What's happening nowadays? It's not that guy anymore. In my opinion, it's not that guy anymore. So you're going to have more patience with this as opposed to back in the day when you could just say, I'm going to blind long Pepe because I'm bullish Bitcoin. I think there's too many memes in the market. I think attention is fragmented. I think memes are not in the spotlight like they once were. So my best advice to you is have patience, man. Position on red days, position when it's down. Don't chase the pump. Keep a wide invalidation and give yourself time. Because most likely, even if this does print the targets that I'm expecting, it's going to time-based capitulate you out of the idea. I'd be happy if it just ripped there tomorrow. Of course, who's not going to be happy about that? But I think the thing you're going to have to deal with, not just on this, plenty of other coins. Screw Pepe. Talk about ONDO, which I think looks good as well. I think this is going to, the way that it trades, it's going to like time-based capitulate you out. You're going to see this coin running and that coin running and this coin running, and you'll be like, why do I have my capital parked in here? Let me sell and go chase that. And you chase that and you scratch yourself up, and then this thing starts ripping. Explain why you decided not to become a doctor. When I was doing my internship, when I was doing clinicals, I was very into it. First time doing clinicals in 3rd and 4th year of med school. Super fun, super challenging. Everything's a puzzle. Then you do internship. You do it all over again, right? And this time, it's not you and 20 of your classmates in that rotation. There's fewer of you, right? And you're getting specific hours. It's basically more like a job. That's when you start seeing the burnout on everyone's face and everyone's mind, and everyone's exhausted. And you're not doing all of the patient history and everything like that again. Now you're working side by side with the physicians. And they're running through everything with you. Yes, you'll have your own patients, but still at the end of the day, you're tied to the hip with the attending physician rather than responding to the postgraduate students and the other interns. Now you're responding to the attendings. And then you just see the burnout in everyone's eyes. And I went through that, and I also did an extra internship outside of my college where I went to a couple hospitals in the area. And I just realized, man, like, I'm going to have to see the same 6 to 12 patient histories if I specialize for 30 years. And everyone's going to come in and they're going to be feeling, shitty. And they're going to be explaining their symptoms to me. And it's going to be something that I've heard 800 times. And I've got to put a smile on my face. And I got to make them feel loved and cared for. Because essentially, you're like their mommy, right? You have to make sure that they're not just getting the care, that they're also mentally at ease. And to do that for 30 years didn't seem appealing to me. So when I got past the mystery of medicine and things started feeling mundane, and I'm not like sparking this curiosity, and my mind's not being blown about how amazing the body is anymore, and how we've come up with, treatments for things. And when you get up past all that, it just becomes a job. And I just didn't see myself doing that. And lucky for me, when I was doing my internship at the same time is when the COVID crash happened, and I got introduced to the markets, and I had fun here, and I was like, this feels more fun. And I don't think the mystery's ever gonna be gone. I think every single trade presents different obstacles. Every single thing requires nuance in markets. And these things never fail to surprise you, man. Like, look back at 107K this past weekend or 2 weekends ago. Right? Think of the game theory that was involved with this. Think of how the market put you in an uncomfortable position. Think of how it was rotating underneath quarterly value back into yearly value. And this is the second time we've traded down here, and we're just hanging down here all weekend, just like this one, but we're doing it again. Think about how we fully retraced the full move, and people are looking for a sweep of this and a sweep of that, right? And the market meta of never long on a Sunday. Never trust a Sunday move on Bitcoin. Always look for the New York session flush. None of that happened. So the market has this way of just always keeping you engaged. There's not these fixed rules that are always going to apply, whereas medicine has very fixed rules, and very infrequently are you going to get new developments where you have to change the game and change the prescriptions and attack patient care in a different way. It's just going to be the same mundane thing. And I don't think markets are like that. I think there's a core rule set, but I think it's ever evolving. I think more gets added to it all the time, and metas shift, and new environments get introduced. Yes, the core stays the same, but it's just evolving all the time. It's always fun to me. Yeah, don't make her pick up after you. I'm bad at that. I feel bad because it happens all the time. I gotta do better there too. Solana memes and PUMPFUN ruined PEPE. Liquidity got spread out. My favorite coin, my favorite meme coin has always been PEPE, guys, because it has always faced something. There's always something going on, and the frog survives. There's always a PEPE killer. There's always something. There's always controversy, and the frog survives. It is the most Lindy coin that we've had this cycle, right? Bitcoin is the most Lindy coin. I think the second most Lindy coin of the entire cycle has been PEPE. And you'll know this if you were around since 2023. I'm not just saying that. I truly believe it. This thing went through everything. This thing went through time-based capitulation. 9 months of this. And in the middle of this range, dev wallet got hacked or liquidated, and the dev started selling into the bottom. There were PEPE killers. There was PEPE clones. There was PEPE coins. There was this PEPE. There was that PEPE that tried to be like, no, we're the real thing. There was the PEPE community branching off and making a coin called Pork. There was WIF. Oh shit, we're in Q4 and everything's going nuts. And WIF went to like $4 billion or something. And what is PEPE doing? It's dying while WIF is going crazy. But the frog survived. Every time. PEPE hit 10 billion. I don't think any meme. Yeah, it won. It won the cycle, dude, as far as memes go. And it's one that CT has never been exposed to. All the main characters on CT bull posted a different meme. None of them ever submitted to PEPE. Doc from doctor helping people to trader mentor helping degens. Good morning, Jingo. Happy to see you back, man. Hope you've been well, dude. Have we discussed game plans on BONK already? Yes, we did. We did BONK. All right, boys and girls. 2 hours. We'll cut the stream there. I appreciate you all for hanging out with me. Do me a solid. Do me a kindness. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. I gotta do the cringe YouTuber thing. Hit the subscribe button. Get your mom and your dog to create an email account and a Gmail account and subscribe to the YouTube. Help this place grow. And Cookbook will be out shortly. Go ahead and check that out. That's just free setups from myself, Magus, Stoic, Mercury, Charlie. Right? There's always a drop on Mondays, and we're gonna start expanding the cookbook. I'm gonna do trader interviews. I'm gonna get traders that you'll never hear on stream because they don't want to voice docs. People that you guys know well on CT that have never streamed, never talked. I'm gonna get them on the cookbook, and I'm gonna ask them about their best trades. I'm gonna ask them how they blew up. I'm gonna ask them the deep cuts that no one's ever asked them. That's all coming to cookbook soon. We're gonna start with Gammy-chan. A little TLDR, a little spoiler for anyone. How many people are left in here? Most people left. Okay, we're at 112. So for the 112 of you guys remaining, Gammy-chan has a epic story of the drawdown that he experienced in May 2021 and how he came back from that. I think he had, from everyone that I've spoken to in crypto since day one, he has the most epic story. And maybe he's told this story before, but I'm gonna grill him on it and see what we can learn. But yeah, appreciate you guys. Love y'all. See you next week.